Harry has finally had his HRH title stripped from the royal family website.
Of course, they were getting it from every which direction when, Meghan and Harry were off on their gallivanting, we want privacy tour.
The crown didn't just blink, it swung the axe. And the privacy power couple who turned royal drama into a California brand.
What the king should do with Prince Harry. That way, Meghan Markle will no longer be the Duchess of Sussex, a place she is unlikely to visit, as by all accounts she has refused to set foot in the UK ever again.
Just discovered there's no refund policy on a title. Keep watching, because in this video you'll learn the exact playbook behind the palace's decision, the silent website switch that detonated the news cycle, the legal mechanism that made it irreversible.
With a big occasion like this. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
Will we be seeing Harry and Meghan?
Well, I mean, I'm just giving you all the glitz and glamour, and we still come back to Harry and Meghan, don't we? But I mean,
who actually pressed the red button behind the scenes, and how this rewrites Harry and Meghan's brand, business deals, and future leverage forever. Here's the quiet part no one hears over the screaming headlines. Royal earthquakes start with silence.
Across the board, he's going to strip everyone that's not a working member of the royal family of their
phones buzzing, websites under maintenance, aides in meetings, and then one microscopic change that rewrites the family tree. Where the world once read their Royal Highnesses, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, it now read two ordinary names.
Markle and Prince Harry are facing the grim prospect of a royal revolution. Experts believe will see them stripped of their title.
Not styles. Not ranks, just names. The internet lost its mind in seconds, but inside Buckingham Palace the mood was ice bath calm. This wasn't a tantrum.
Going to strip everyone that's not a working member of the royal family of their titles. That would be just because it's easier to manage a smaller royal.
It was a timetable, because none of this was spontaneous. This was mapped out months ago under a velvet code name and run like a military operation. Assess the risk, lock the leaks, limit the blast radius, strike once. The pressure had been building for years. Interviews, memoirs,
Questions here to ask about the future of the royal.
Unfiltered documentaries and rumors of a fresh project threatening to step over the last red line. Royal finance. In that world, you can jab the crown with feelings. You cannot drag it with ledgers. That's when strategy beats sentiment. Letters patent drafted. Council consulted. Ministers briefed.
No fireworks. No trailer.
Just ink, protocol, and finality. And if you think this was about jealousy, you're still watching the show, not reading the script. The institution's question was simpler. Does credibility survive if the crown's authority can be rented by a brand across the Atlantic? The answer arrived in 67 words. Not a punishment. A partition. Working royals on one side. California content on the other. Across the ocean, Montecito hit DEFCON 1. The Hollywood Duchess became the Hollywood operator. Phones lit, teams summoned, the soft focus empowerment brand weaponized into Operation Phoenix. The message was razor-edged and Instagram-ready. They didn't take a title, I outgrew it. But savvy audiences smell spin. Sympathy spikes, fatigue follows. The more the narrative demanded belief, the more producers, sponsors, and friendly outlets went cold. Not because they suddenly loved the palace, but because the plot started repeating itself. You can only sell the same revelation so many times before the audience knows the twist. Meanwhile, in London, another story took shape. One the palace didn't shout but made sure you could find if you were looking. William wasn't the jealous brother. He was the firewall. The heir who tells the room the uncomfortable truth. You don't defend the future by negotiating with the past. Briefings stayed background. The official line stayed no comment. But behind that silence, pieces moved. Legal review assembled, comms disciplined. Websites synced, calendars cleared. When the switch flipped, there'd be no appeal to process, because the process was flawless. Here's the part you're going to talk about in the comments. Did the palace go too far? Or did the couple overplay a hand that only works with a coronet watermark? Strip away the drama and look at the consequences. Prestige economics are brutal. Duke and Duchess sells meetings before you even ask for them. Without it, you're competing in a saturated market full of famous couples with bigger numbers and fewer headaches. The fairy tale premium?
Gone.
The brand now has to stand on output, not outrage. For Harry, the loss wasn't just PR, it was identity. Titles weren't merch to him. They were a bridge, ancestry, duty, his mother's world. When the palace closed that bridge, it didn't slam the door. It locked it from the inside and walked away. That's the monarchy's deadliest move. Not rage. Indifference. The digital age punishes silence. The crown survives by drowning noise. Then came the hiccup that changed the wind direction. A leaked recording. One staffer, one producer, one careless boast about villain editing the air. Suddenly, #justice flips to #manipulated. Not because the palace said so, but because receipts always beat rhetoric. The palace didn't crow, it breathed. And used the opening to seed context through trusted voices, outreach attempts that failed, reconciliations quietly offered, and the institutional duty to protect the crown from becoming a content vertical. The tide didn't roar back. It receded. That's more dangerous. Here's the legal spine you came for. This wasn't a moody memo. It was constitutional housekeeping executed by letters patent, the same instrument that grants and defines honors can withdraw them when the sovereign judges the integrity of the institution at stake. Parliament was informed, not polled. The point wasn't drama. It was durability. By the time the public caught up, the ink had been dry long enough to be archival. Hollywood did the math next. Executives who once drooled over the royal lens, reviewed pipelines, and asked the unsexy questions. What's the next chapter? What's the proof we haven't seen already? What happens when the palace's legal team reminds us the line between experience and defamation is a courtroom, not a podcast? You don't have to threaten to chill deals. You just have to make accuracy expensive. And still, the most devastating blow was the quietest. A Sunday morning site update.
No flourish. No quote.
Just the simple language of records. Not a couple branded by a duchy. Two private citizens with famous names. Screenshots spread faster than statements ever could. That's the monarchy's new media strategy in one line. Let the internet say it for you. S.O. Where does this leave everyone? The crown, battered by years of noise, now recentered around duty math, fewer working faces, stricter brand control, zero tolerance for freelance monarchy. William, less jealous brother, more systems engineer, the guy who flips a switch and doesn't check Twitter to see if it worked. Harry, a man caught between the family he left and the family he built, discovering that bridges you burn don't send flowers. Meghan, a world-class communicator up against a foe that won't argue back. Fatigue. Here's the uncomfortable ending. The monarchy didn't win with a speech. It outlasted a storyline. Not with outrage. With order. In the influencer era, nothing feels more powerful than a viral confession until you hit the one institution that refuses to co-star. Titles can elevate your voice. They can also swallow it whole. And when the crown finally chooses legacy over love, the credits roll whether you're ready or not. By the end of this video, you now know the operation timeline, the legal switch that made it stick, who actually moved the pieces, and why this is less a feud than a structural reset. Now the question lands with you. Was this accountability or overreach? Did the palace rescue its future, or just teach every royal in law a brutal new lesson about the cost of turning a coronet into content?